If you could just relive one performance, which would it be and why?
I would have to say the first time that we did Fenway Park. That was it was one of the largest venues that we had ever done. And that was something that was, wow. That was just like, whoa. I mean, it was big. And I think we were like, I don't know, maybe the first live band or something like that large or something to ever play there. I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure like the Parrot Heads would know and the Buffett, we would just, but there was something like groundbreaking. That Jimmy Buffett and the Coral Reefer Band, we were performing there. It was like a breaking moment for a performance. And that was really cool. Yeah, I think that was where the 60 Minutes came in, maybe. I'm not sure but it was big. It was big. Something about that one was pretty epic. I don't know how to explain that feeling. It was just epic. Like, I don't know how to explain. It was almost so big that you didn't even realize that it just was just so big. I don't even know how to explain it. It just felt big. Even the stage was huge. It was massive. Like, everything was big. So yeah, it probably was Fenway Park. I'd have to say that was really, really, really powerful. It was a lot of people there. So yeah, I'd say Fenway.
Now, eventually, your chapter with the band came to an end. What are you comfortable sharing about that transition? And what was it like for you emotionally to step away from something that had become such a defining part of your life?
Well, that was pretty out of the ballpark. You know, I don't know what had. It was out left wing. You know, there were 4 of us that got FedExes that same day, and those individuals and myself, we all, it was a daunting day, to say the least. I was in California. I had just moved from the Bahamas. Actually, I was living in Jimmy Buffett's condo in the Bahamas. At the end of that year before, in 2005, I had lived in that condo on Paradise Island for over a year and a half, or no, 2 years, about 2 years. And I had ended up going to California. And my objective was to create an album there, a pop album. And I had been communicating with the executive, Howard Kaufman, and Caroline and Kaufman, his wife. And we had been kind of forming together about me kind of participating with Capitol Records and one of the producers, Andy, over there making a pop album. And so that kind of, came into fruition into 2005 at the end of the tour. And so we were on, holiday break and stuff before the New Year's. And then we went through the New Year's, and then, we were almost on tour through April. And then all of a sudden, that year of 2006, Capitol Records, on the radio, it's coming down, it's closing down. And I was like, what? So that kind of fell through. And, then I had gotten a phone call about, going on the Aerosmith tour. And I just totally nixed that. I did not want to go. It wasn't meaningful to me at the time. It was a great offer. I really respected that they offered me that tour. But at the same time, I just really wanted to focus on my album. And that was where my brain was. That was where my energy was. I came from the Bahamas. I had sat there for 3 years while I was touring, and I was culminating my, and strategizing my entire California move. And once I got to California, it was the focal point. I'm going to create this album, and everything was going to roll. And I chose not to do that tour. So that was one thing that I had to let go also. So April came around, and we got these FedExes, and it was almost time for, the new year of the new tour to start dress runs and stuff. And we weren't going on. And I was like, whoa. And, there was a payout from the organization, and the payout was take it or leave it type of thing. And there was no negotiation. I had to go there I had to go to Gelfert Rennert's office in LA. And, I went in and it was really sad because, Ilga, one of the accountants, Ilga, a good friend, she was up there and people had heard that I had been let go. And of course, when I went into the main office, he was, not Jimmy, but in the Gelfert Rennert's office, he was pretty saddened. He was looking out the window of all of LA. And he gave me an envelope with a check in it from Jimmy and, that kind of thing. So that was how that went. And then I just said, okay, well, I got to, go onwards. And then there was a death period of my soul. And it was disheartening, to say the least, especially when there was only one real individual that was speaking to me at the time. And he continued to speak to me. And it was Ralph. So basically, the family that I had for 10 years just kind of stopped communicating. And the only one that communicated with me was Ralph. And I was really grateful for that. And he pulled me out of a big, deep depression. And I went through a major depression, something that I would never want anybody to go through. It was severe. It was so severe. I thought I was I died basically, but I was going to die. Yeah. I did want to reach out to Jimmy a few times and things, but it just, I didn't do that. I just didn't do it. So anyways, that was a very tough situation for a couple of years of my life, and it faded. It didn't fade away, but it faded away, but it was a big one. It was a big one. It was a big transformation for me. It was a big reality check. You have all these people you trust, you have all these people that you speak to, you have all these people that you eat with, that you fly with, that you support each other, and then that's it, right? So, these things are real in life, and I'm sure people have gotten that from family, friends, whoever, and it's real. So when things happen in that manner, you have to pull yourself together. And I came back together and I started working on my music and started working on another album. And that's kind of what I did. It was a tough situation for me. It was really tough. I wanted to go into this pop scene, but I loved all these Parrot Head fans, right? So like I had these, with the Jimmy Buffett stuff, it was like, I love these Parrot Head fans, but at the same time, I love pop music. Now, there are new songs that will be coming out soon, and it will be directed to the Parrot Heads. And I've come to terms with myself that I need to, generate and facilitate these beautiful pieces of music that I do have for the Parrot Heads. And so these things are going to be coming out soon. Yeah, it was a long journey. I have to say, it was a long literal death of physical, spiritual, and just understanding human behavior, period. Realizing that everything can be taken away from you in one split second. I felt that it was the wave was always gonna be going. And it is. It is. And we create our wave. And we create the waves from the frequency, from the big tidal wave, we have to create our own frequency, and I have a wave. So we're on wavelength. I'm a little different, and that's okay. I like it. And, people that want to come to me and resonate with me, it's fine. I resonate with Jimmy. We're totally different. We loved each other dearly. I resonated with him in his wave, and I loved it. And to just be a part of that is just a very special invitation to the soul. And people may not necessarily understand when you're let go from something like that, how it transforms you when you are going through the death and rebirth. But it's very severe. Very, very, very severe. I mean, I think Ralph's son and daughter, Atiba and Nephra Ann, they were firsthand and saw me physically and heard me physically and spiritually. And, they got to experience where I was, after all those amazing shows we did. And my body was into this amazing thing. And then I'm literally, because on tour I was about, 132 pounds, and I literally went to almost 79 pounds. So I'm just putting it there. That's how severe the death was. And Ralph McDonald is the one that saved my life.
If you could sit down with that younger version of yourself now, at the beginning of that transition from the band, knowing everything you know now, what would you tell her?
At that moment, I was on pause. Of course, I was frozen. Like I said, I was going through that death and rebirth period. It took forever to me. I mean, I was even traveling with like the Kogi tribe, with Teresa Panchura, Jimmy's body worker, healer, shamanic, enlightened one. And we were journeying with the Kogis of Colombia. I was really taking time to, evaluate who I am, what my purpose is, who my soul is, what my soul is, where do I stand on the planet? What am I for? What was I for? How did people perceive me? What do they only perceive me as? What more can I offer? Who am I? And what's this bigger picture in my soul? What is this realm? Where am I supposed to go? Because now it's like, whoa, I got that taken away from me. And then, of course, the Capitol Records thing got taken away from me. I had another something that had happened to me in Nashville as far as that, and that was taken away from me. So it was all taken away from me. It was tough. It was like, what is going on? All of a sudden you have all this stuff coming for you, and then everything was wiped away and clean, one swipe. And it was like, okay. And then you go for the next thing. And it's like, nope, that's coming away too. It was like, oh yeah, you have this. And then 3 or 4 weeks later or 6 months later, nope, you don't have it. And it was so weird. It all was just happening like that. I don't know what happened, but the wave was weird. And, if I could tell myself one thing, I would say, Heather, breathe really deep. Don't waste so many tears. Don't waste so many years. Don't go too emotional. Pull yourself together quickly, efficiently. Align yourself. Get right back to it. Don't lose your light. Don't allow anybody to come and attempt to dim your light. Take the reins. Keep going. Take the reins and go. And that's what I would say. I would rather have done that than freeze up that I did. So yeah, that's something that, I would say that. I mean, you don't want to go into the years of years and years and years and years, because I did. And it to me, it took those years away from me. And, but it also shaped me. So, on one hand, you got shaped and you got less years. And on the other hand, you lost years and you gained, some wisdom or something to talk about this right now, to say, hey, take the reins and keep going. So it's kind of like what Jimmy says, keep the party going. That's his phrase. And that's what it is. It's like, keep the party going. And I wish that I could have done that. The divine did it differently. And that's what I would say to her.
If there's something you want to tell the faithful parrot heads right now, what would you like to personally say to them?
I would say the world needs you. The organizations that you all have put together, the foundations that you've built together, the tentacles that you have built together are so needed on our planet. It's not just the tentacles from the Jimmy Buffett organizations. He's the light beam. He's the lighthouse. He has the sail. He is sailing, and we are on this. As hard as it is to know that he is here in the spiritual realm and have left in the physical, it is easy to say that we all must do our part to keep everything going and alive. All the environmental things that you have all done for the ocean and the environment and the air and the people, you do realize that there's not many people that are fans like you. For people that are at celebrity status, that's a raw, pure soul that built his entire empire on true love and the opportunities that came along with it for all, and to always unite together. I just really hope and pray that you all come together and continue on and keep his light alive and keep your light alive.
If you had one more moment with Jimmy, just the two of you, and you could tell him anything at all, what would you want him to know?
Jimmy, I hear you, I feel you, I'm listening. The things that are happening while you've been away with your fans, with your family, I pray that they all are in peaceful format for you, and you literally are the light beam that shined on me and supported my soul and showed me the map, the way to share light, to become bright, and to stay true to your soul. And forever I am grateful for your kindness, your generosity, and your leadership, and your spirit.